to be daring, baby, dance the night away. I let my hair down if I want. Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time?
Okay guys, these are the plants that we're going to be repotting into pond today. This plant came with a lot of damage from shipping. I cut off a lot of the damage, but it's still just generally crispy. The newer leaves are coming out beautiful and not crispy, but I'm just going to clean the plant up a little bit. And we're going to move this into pond. We're going to put it in this planter, hopefully the roots fit. And we are going to put this Rattlesnake Calathea that I completely neglected. I put it in terracotta like a psycho. I don't even know what I was thinking, and then completely forgot about it, and it shriveled to nothing. This plant was beautiful, no crispies, and now it's just kind of like asking to be put out of its misery, basically. But I'm not going to give up on it because it did bounce back fairly well. So I'm going to put it in pond and hope that the wet environment makes it a lot happier. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to try and put this one in this pot. I might switch them. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. But I have this pot in this pot, and we're just going to put these in pond. So yeah, let's get you guys on the tripod, and we'll get going with it. Okay, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. Let me rearrange a little bit so you can get a good view. Okay, I'll try and keep everything here. Let's start with Mr. Rattlesnake. So I'm going to pull him out of the dirt. And the roots look good. He doesn't look like he's got root rot in any way. So I'm just going to clean his roots off and see what we're working with as far as how much roots he has. We might need to trim some of these to get him used to growing pond roots, and so that the plant will work in the pond, because you don't want a big root ball in the middle of your pond. The pond needs to touch itself in order to adequately wick the moisture up throughout the roots. So we might end up needing to trim some of these healthy roots, unfortunately. But let's see what we got. Let's see what we're working with. I do see a couple roots that could probably be trimmed that have a little bit of rot, but absolutely I'd say 98% of these roots are just fine. Okay, so that's what we got here. And I'm just going to take this and give it a rinse. Okay, I went ahead and got rid of our dirt. And here is our plant all rinsed off. As you can see, there is still some dirt on the roots, and it's not the end of the world. But we're definitely going to trim these roots back. And there's a couple of them I want to get rid of altogether. But mostly, it's in good condition. So, I have my already sanitized shears. And I am just going to trim away some of the sheaths on the inside here. And by sheaths, they're just the little like almost like paper-like covers to the stems. Let's see if I can get this one off and I can give you a close-up of what I'm talking about. It's just the paper-like covers that the new shoots come out of. We have a new shoot here, but the tip is pretty black. So I'm not 100% sure it's ever going to amount to anything, but I'm going to leave it because it's not necessarily rotting. And we're just going to keep cleaning it up. You might as well take that extra time to clean the plant up if you're going through all the hassle of repotting it and get all that stuff that could possibly fall into the pond and start to rot out of there. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to trim these roots because this is just going to create problems for us in the future. I want to leave enough roots to give the plant stability in the pond and to allow it to take up as much moisture as possible. But I don't want to leave so many roots that it creates a problem with the wicking and capillary action of the pond. So we're going to go ahead and leave it with that, and that should be sufficient. There's some really good roots in there, and it looks good. Now I'm just going to trim off any overly, really bad leaves, because there's no point in leaving leaves like this on there. We're cleaning this plant up. We're giving it a new lease on life, so we're going to give it good leaves. This one's a questionable. This one's a judgment call because it's not too bad, but I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it anyway. And this is what we're left with. It's a little sparse, I know, but all the leaves are pretty much not crispy. You can stay. And we've got some decent roots. So I think, let's see. I want that. Let's do it in this one. I feel like this pot, even though the pot itself is bigger, I feel like the inside is smaller. And I think the Calathea, or the Stromanthes Magic Star, is going to need the bigger pot. So we're going to go ahead and take our freshly washed pon. And I do have a few leca balls in here just for some extra aeration. We're going to put a nice layer. I'm going to see how that looks. Okay, that looks good. And I'm just going to fill the rest of it in, just like I'm potting in soil. Now, I do expect my plant to go through a little bit of an acclimation period. This plant will wilt. It may not pray like it's supposed to for a few weeks until it gets established. You know how the plant's leaves go up and down with the sun? That could definitely be affected by this big change. I have done a Maranta in pon, and it worked out really well. I have a Maranta that's currently rooting a propagation. When that is done rooting, it will go into pon. I do like pon for my prayer plants and Calatheas and Stromanthes and such because they like it really moist. I don't have time to water them every 15 minutes like they prefer. So a water-based medium is just right up their alley. So this is going to be something that they're going to really enjoy eventually. And you don't want to disturb it too much after it's already in there, so make sure you get it set up the way you like it now, because once you get it watered and put it where it goes, you don't want to start disturbing it to change things. You want to give it time to acclimate, let it root, let it do its thing, basically. So, I'm just going to take this out. I'm going to go ahead and help it settle. And when it does that, you'll see that the pon goes down, so you'll end up needing more because it's settling into all the nooks and crannies. And that lowers the overall level of the pon. The only thing about pon is it does tend to stick to your fingers when it's wet. It drives me a little bit insane. But I get these metal planting chopsticks from Bonsai Jack when I buy my DIY pon stuff. So I use those to like settle it and help it do its thing. Okay, there we go. Rattlesnake Calathea is now in pon. It's cleaned up, and now we just gotta let it acclimate and grow more leaves and become the plant that it once was before I tried to kill it. Okay, so there's that. I'm probably gonna need more pon, but let's go ahead and move on to our Magic Star, which apparently has 2 tags because I'm extra. Okay, so let's get this one out of the dirt and see what it looks like. That dirt was really compacted in there. As you can see, it's basically just a giant chunk. And they're white and healthy. So I'm just going to do what I did with the rattlesnake, and I'm going to finger massage the dirt, get as much of it off as possible before I wash it. We have some new shoots coming up, you can see. So I'm going to be gentle with those. I don't want to harm them. We definitely will be trimming these roots as well. I'm sorry to all the root lovers, but it is something that's necessary. And so this is the roots that we got to work with. As you can see, they're very fine. So we're going to rinse this plant, and I'll be back with the rinsed off plant. And this is what we're working with. So we've got clean roots. I got as much of this cleaned up as possible under the water. So I'm just going to cut off any areas that I don't want in the pon. Like these sheaths, definitely don't want to keep those in there. Anything that might end up becoming organic rotted material, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut off. I did lose one growth point because I wasn't paying close enough attention to what I was doing, but that's okay, it'll grow more. And the rest of them don't look like horrible. We definitely have some crispy boys, but none of them are like unsightly. And everyone's favorite part, I'm gonna go ahead and trim the roots. So all those roots are gonna go, and I am comfortable leaving this amount. Okay, so it will fit nicely into this pot. So let's go ahead and lay down a layer of leca, or not leca, I'm sorry, pon. I will link both of these pots in the description box down below in case anyone wants to check them out. Let's see, I can put a little bit more. This pot might even be a little bit on the big side, but it'll grow. So yeah, that's how it's gonna look sitting in the planter. And I'm gonna go ahead and just fill up pon all around it, just like I would if I was potting it up in soil. I also expect this plant to go through an acclimation period where it doesn't pray properly. It probably won't grow for a little bit. But it's nice and warm in my room where it's going, and it is more of a humid environment up there, so, which is why I put it up there. So while it will be a little bit of a struggle bus in the beginning, the plants will eventually acclimate to the pond, and the wet environment will just be so much better for them long term, since they like to drink whenever they please, and they don't have to wait on me. All I have to do is refill the water reservoirs. And I'm using name brand Lechuzapon for this, so there is slow release fertilizer in it. So I don't even have to fertilize these for the first 6 months or so. You can add slow release fertilizer to your DIY pond if that's what you're currently rocking. And I can put just a link in the description box for one that I recommend for that. Move this out of the way. We got our Rattlesnake and our Stromanthes Trio Star, both in pon. Okay guys, they are in place. I went and put some water in the reservoirs. There's the Trio Magic Star, and there's the Rattlesnake Calathea. Both have adequate water in the reservoir. I do wish I had put some mesh or something to stop pon from falling through there, but this is what we're working with, and really it's not the end of the world. It's just an aesthetics thing, so here they are. They are on my entertainment center in the back of my room with my green Maranta, which has been in pon since probably November and is doing great. So here they are. Get this out of the way. And they have a grow light situation here. And they're good to go. So this was me transferring some Calathea type of plants into pon. We will check in with these in a couple of months. I will do updates periodically on my Instagram. So make sure you head on over to Instagram, link in the description box down below, and follow me on there to get all the updates on these plants. I will try and update at least every 2 weeks, if not more. But yeah, absolutely. Definitely check me out there. Follow me on TikTok. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate every single one of you. And I'll see you in the next one.